Okay, it should be starting to send it to YouTube, but and there we are. Great.
All right. So I don't feel like I know that it's a sure thing with Kaossara.
Right. Well, we'll see her if we see her, and accommodate when she's on as directly as we can. Okay, it is start time. I would like to start. Leoma's not back yet, but I don't want to leave people waiting.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
I think.
Okay. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and share screen. Well, no, because we want to do. Yeah, we want to greet people first. So I am letting in our waiting room guests.
Hello.
Hello, welcome everyone. Oh, here comes Leoma back. That's good. So thank you for being here. We have a couple more people who signed up who haven't made it in yet, but hopefully they will be here soon. And some more of our Nova Sutras regulars might be joining us as well. So my thought was that we'd first just do a quick round of check-ins, kind of seeing how people are doing, and gently getting to know one another a little bit. This is going to be kind of an interactive session. So one of the ways that we like to do this is what we call the internal weather report. So just like you might hear a report about what the weather in your town is going to be like today, what's on your heart and mind, just sort of synthesize that into a metaphor of what the weather's like inside of you. So for me today, weather is a little bit unsettled and blustery, but I think the sun is coming out.
Yes.
So I will go next, saying that I also think there's some unsettled blustery, but there's a beautiful spring breeze in my heart. So Catherine, would you like to check in? Or maybe Paul, would you like to check in if Catherine's not ready yet?
You know those days where the clouds are just right for sort of a polarizing effect and everything looks more crisp and vivid. I think that's where I am. It could be sleep deprivation, but I think that's my weather report.
And Kendon, would you like to check in?
We're just doing weather reports.
We're just doing weather reports. Very brief. What's your internal weather?
I seem to be laughing. So I will be cryptic and oracular and say, Leoma, and I come to you from a David Rome practice that I'm now characterizing as putting on the mind of Jesus. There you are.
Okay.
Catherine, are you ready to check in now?
Is everybody from, what area are you from?
Santa Cruz.
Yeah. All right.
Where are you from, Catherine?
Baltimore, Maryland.
Oh,
Okay,
wonderful.
well, welcome.
Well, thank you. You're in Santa Cruz?
Yes, California. And I think at least another 4 of us are in that general area. So would you like to share any
It's
little
in
bit?
here. It's in here outside. It's a little windy and little chilly. They was warning us to cover the plants and vegetables if it comes out from the ground. So we had to cover it, and it was quite cold and chilly, but it's getting better now. And we are all waiting for the beautiful spring.
Good, good.
Wonderful. And how are you feeling inside right now? Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Benny, do you want to go ahead and check in with us?
Hi everyone. I am feeling like a little, like a fish in a river being carried, knowing that soon it will be time to swim, but for now being carried. And the river is not too cold, not very turbulent, and but not brightly lit. It's an overcast day, but it's crisp despite the overcast that the river is receiving.
All right. And welcome, Francesca.
Hi.
So we're doing, have you been on one of these before? Our weather report check-in? Just
No.
okay. So it's just a brief statement of what is your internal weather report? What are you feeling like? And using kind of weather and climate metaphors.
Oh dear. Has everybody else checked in already?
Yep. This is what happens when you don't show up on time.
I almost showed up on time. Oh dear. Inner weather report. The barometric pressure is a little low, I think. Not going to burst into tears or anything, but
Okay.
no, that's not fair. I'm actually feeling okay. It's just that I didn't sleep last night, so the moon never came out. So yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not quite awake enough to even give a good weather report. I'm just glad to be here for this.
Oh, well, glad to have you here. Thank you.
We had Natasha for a moment, but lost her.
Yeah, she's tried to log in a couple of times. I think she's having trouble getting her audio connected. So hopefully she will join us soon. And just a note, you'll see in the upper screen here that we are live streaming this on YouTube. This one's going to be a public live stream. So That also means that the recording will be accessible right away. And I will try and get you that link at some point while we're underway. But
so perhaps we're ready for Paul to start?
no.
What?
Sorry, you didn't look over the outline, but that's okay. So I'm going to give us a little bit of introduction to what's going on, and then we'll hand it over to Paul. And one of the things that I want to reiterate is that we are intending this to be very interactive. So we'll be presenting a little bit and then pausing for conversation fairly frequently. So we're just in the welcome and introductions right now. Paul's going to give us just a brief introduction to some climate issues and solutions, and then go into some historic examples that give us reasons for hope right now. I'll talk a little bit about honoring Indigenous wisdom and its relevance to this. Paul will talk a little bit about eco-justice work. Then we'll talk about the real sacred gift of life on Earth, and we'll do a brief meditation associated with that. Then Paul will introduce us to further actions, or reintroduce us and go into more detail about some climate solutions specifically, and we'll open up conversation after that as well. But for most of these steps, there will be some conversation following that, and then we'll do a brief closing. So for those who are watching online, for Catherine or others who join us, just a little introduction to the Nova Sutras community. We start with the recognition that nature and the living earth itself are sacred. We recognize the importance of change, complexity, diversity, and cooperation. And we all hold the belief that the living world is something to be really savored, to be honored, to be celebrated, and above all, to be protected. We will be engaging in a lot of conversation in this session, and our community expectations are, we have a culture of really deep and respectful listening, where you're giving your full attention, where you're honoring all points of view and assuming the best intentions from the speakers. When you do speak, we invite you to share very honestly and authentically, remembering, of course, that we are live streaming on YouTube, so this is a public space. Don't go any more confidential than you want recorded and shared on social media. And when someone's speaking in a conversation, try to leave a little, just a breath or two of silence to make sure that that speaker has really completed their thought before someone else steps in. So again, Paul and I will be presenting different sections of this. And with that, I am going to hand it over to Paul, whom I should make co-host right away. And I'll be
You ready?
Yep. Still not going through on the screen sharing.
Sorry about that.
Still not seeing anything. You want to stop and try again?
Here we are.
Paul, you might need to stop screen sharing and start again. Uh-oh, is he frozen?
Well, during all technological glitches, I invite the rest of us just to sit holding everybody in our hearts, the world in our hearts, kind of a meditative space while the technological people figure it out.
Okay. I think we might have lost Paul.
I think I'm back.
There you are. Okay.
I have never had a succession of Zoom crashes like that. I mean, I've been in hundreds of these darn meetings.
Yeah.
Anyhow, and I cannot screen share while another participant is doing so.
I have stopped screen sharing, so it should let you do it.
Okay.
There it is. Much better. Okay.
All right, good. So I hope that you're looking at a screen that says Sources and Springs of Climate Action. I'm going to have to do a little rearranging on my desktop. Apologize. Trying to keep this from crashing again. Okay. So the inspiration, I think, for this particular Earth Day event, in a way like the last one we did last year, is to kind of get the wind in our sails, because it is easy when you're trying to wrestle with the climate crisis, to feel like it's not obvious that what we need to do is achievable. And so my part of this today is to try to say, yes, I think it is. So we're going to look at a number of sources and springs for climate action. And we're kind of getting the least attractive one out of the way first. Mm-hmm. And that is a direct encounter with climate reality. So I could update it. The UNEP is now saying 3.5 C or greater. This is relying on on the 2019 emissions gap report. But what you find if you look closely at the science of the climate crisis is that we don't actually need the most dire reports. Just sort of a vanilla version, an optimistic version, already makes it clear that nothing but transformative change will do. feel like we missed a slide there. I'm going to go back. So that there is an enormous effort by the fossil fuel industry to turn the reality of our situation directly on its head. And this graph is very good for sort of representing that. This graph, some version of this graph, is sort of the most common form in which the reality of the climate crisis, its urgent demands of us are communicated. Because, it presents us with alternative futures. One that we're sort of, the default future, our current trajectory is we're racing to a future of 3.5 to 7 C of warming. So contrary to the sort of upside down version of reality I call climate fatalism, which says that just continuing our current course is the path of least resistance. That's exactly wrong. It's the path of maximum resistance. And I'm having a little pace issue with my slides. Let me see if I can just freeze this. Yes, okay. So the essential thing here is that this our current trajectory is the opposite of the path of least resistance. Nothing about it is easy. Nothing about it is economical or thrifty. Its essence is that every step on this trajectory imposes ruinous costs. And as the planet warms, and we're learning more and more about how this happens all the time, each tiny fraction of a degree of warming has far more unwelcome consequences, is far more destructive than the one that preceded it. But it's not just ecological crisis, it's crisis in the relations between us. And I think one of the things that can buoy our spirits and help us make our case to others is to understand that a really large part of what we need to do in order to address the climate crisis is to be less cruel to one another, to establish more just and humane relations, and to allow ourselves to experience more life. I think I've read now so many different climate scientists kind of stepping out of the, just the science side and talking a little bit about what they see that we need to do, who are saying, to those of us in the wealthy countries, it's a bad deal. We've traded way too much life in return for kind of a mess of pottage. We need to cut back on the consumption. We need to cut back, especially on the labor time. And, give what used to be touted as conservative values, the unfolding of the potential of the individual, but the life of the family, the life of the community, those local relationships, and ultimately our relationships, of course, with nature are experienced locally, but to allow ourselves to be present in life where we live. So I call this report, this is again, it's from the 2019 Emissions Gap Report, the 7% solution, because UNEP, the United Nations Environment Program, went out of its way to give clear guidance, and always their reports are aimed at policymakers. So when they present their, their case, this is the least we can do. It really is the least. They never overstate what's needed. I'm going to go back again. So I can kind of move as quickly through a part of this. The punchline of it is that for humanity collectively, for the world as a whole, to reduce its emissions 7.6% a year, the wealthy countries, and especially the United States and Russia, would have to do far more than that, close to 20% a year. And our emissions would have to be cut 80% from projected levels by 2030, more than anyone is currently talking about. And this little graph is worth a look to help us see the climate crisis a little more clearly in its distributional aspect. There is a tendency, it's very natural because this is such a big problem, to want to make it the problem of humanity. And of course it is in one sense, but it is surely not a problem to which we have contributed equally. So what you can see here is that Anglo-European countries are less than 15% of the world's people, but we are the source of 60% almost of the cumulative CO2 emissions that are the primary cause of global warming. And just the United States, with just over 4% of the world's people, has produced over 25% of its emissions. This is really important because, again, it reinforces we really need huge cuts, very deep, very rapid cuts to be coming from these countries. But also, we need Africa and Latin America to be able to expand access to electricity, to make hospitals and schools more available, to improve basic quality of life, and to do it without a huge spike in emissions. So, it is exactly as much in our interest to invest in a rapid deployment of solar, especially in this part of the world, but renewable energy in this part of the world, in Africa and Latin America, as it is to do it internally. The climate crisis is the end of zero-sum thinking. We are just all in it together. We will make it or not make it together. I'm not going to go through these solutions.
Paul, I just want to point out that Kaossara made it on.
Oh, great.
So
let me stop my share for a minute.
All right.
So we can say hello. Hey, you. How great to see you.
Oh, Kaossara, can you unmute?
Oh yeah, you're
How-
mute.
Yeah, sorry. I'm really happy to see you. And I'm really happy to be here. I'm sorry, here we have a lot of heat. It's sunny every day, so I'm feeling a bit heat here. So yeah, that's the result of climate change, and we have to accept it. We just can't accept it like that. We have to fight also. Yeah.
What time is it there, Kaossara?
It's 7 p.m. here.
You would think I would know that by heart.
Yeah, 7 p.m.
Number of times we've done this. Well, it's great to see you.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to hearing whatever you care to talk about. You are about the most productive climate advocate I know. I don't know anybody who
that's
achieves as much in
yeah.
as many different ways.
Yeah, I think doing it with passion, that's why. And I'm living the climate change here, and I think that's the motto of what's pushing me to tell the world what's really happening, and really. And I really hope that we won't lose hope, because every time when I'm chatting with you, when I'm communicating with you, I'm always surprised. I used to say, oh my God, where this man find his strength? Yeah, because sometimes when you got tired, you just tell yourself, oh, it doesn't want you to fight, because at the end nothing will change. These people will just keep talking, but at the same time, when you get in touch with people like you, giving us hope, strength, and it's really amazing. And I think you are among those who are giving me courage, and yeah, to continue, because sometimes you have to live your own life, maybe your study and everything, and also you like to give up, just say, oh, let me just forget this thing and move on, because people were fighting before us, but we can't give up. It's like we started it and we have to end it
That's
until
right.
the end of our lives. Yeah. And what makes me more inspired is that we are in an intra-generation fight. We have young people, we have children, we have adults, we have elders, everyone in this fight with no discrimination. And that's the really big, it's like magic. Yeah. So I think the new generation of Africa, we keep doing what's the best, not only for Africa, but also for the whole world. And I'm seeing it, people here in Africa, they are getting involved in big things. And we are trying to forget the past. We want to build something new, build on hope. And we won't do it with hate. We won't accuse anyone. We don't want that. Let us forget the past. It's already past. And let us focus on the present and build another future, better future for everyone. That's what we want. And I think most of people realize that, and yeah, we will be the better one if we won't give up and if we keep together. Yeah, we stay together, we work together, we keep encouraging ourselves when someone feel tired or feel disappointed, and someone else from another country far away make you feel, like, you are doing something, because sometimes I really don't feel like I'm doing something. Yeah, it's like I'm just wasting my time, and it's frustrating. It can affect your mental health easily, but at the same time, when you see around you, you won't give up. Yeah, and I used to say to all those who are supporting me that it's because of that people, yeah, people like you. I never met you before, but we are all in, yeah, it's like a web, and we have the energy, even if we don't meet ourselves, we can feel it. So it's really, really the best thing in this fight, because those who lived before us, they fight for slavery, fight against colonialization, imperialism, capitalism, and many fascism, and many things. And this fight is special because it's our fight. It's not only in Africa when people have to fight against the imperialism, or not only in US when people have to fight racism. It's something which gather us together, and that's the power of this movement. Yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It has changed my life in so many ways, not just related to activism. I'm just a better person because of knowing you, and really now a number of just extraordinary activists in Africa. And I have to say, what you say is really consistently true. People do not convey anger. I could imagine conveying some anger, but there's something more important happening that is like a direct communication of reality, because Africa is like, a few days ahead in the climate crisis. And so we're kind of hearing, in a way, for the first time, where the climate crisis really is, how far along it is, what it's, what it's threatening, and how ambitious we need to be in thinking about making change. The sort of the outline of this event for me, or the unifying idea, is actually just what you were saying. It's that it is really easy to feel like it's a lonely struggle when you're taking on something this big, but that it seems really clear to me what the climate crisis is asking of us is the opposite of that. It's to reach out for a close companionship with the rest of the living world, the greater than human world, to reach out beyond the north-south divide, and to reach beyond our ideas about how much change we're capable of making, or how much power we think we have, to reach for each other, I think, and to reach with everything we have in us for the sacred gift of life on earth, and really take it in and defend it, and do what's necessary to sustain it. So anyhow, I think I already spent more time on policy than I meant to, but I'll just wind it up by saying, it is good news really there is good news in all of the bad news in the climate crisis, because what we're learning over and over and over is that our activity is causing great disharmony, great distress in the living world. And since we're seeing that distress all around us, since we're suffering that distress, there's really nowhere in the world that's not suffering some of it. The fact that it's us, that we're the agent of it, is good news, because it means we can change our ways and we can slow, arrest, and reverse it. And so that's what the early part of this was about. And maybe we should take a break, because I feel like I've been talking too long, and let there some conversation happen.
Yes, I was going to suggest that as well. So first of all, and Kaossara, I'm not sure how long you're going to be able to stay on with us. So I wanted to make sure if people have questions for you that we can do that now.
Yeah.
So if you have a question, just go ahead and put your hand up and unmute yourself if you're muted. And I'm going to make some adjustments there. So questions for Kaossara or Paul or both?
And I can take over watching for Stack.
Great, thank you.
So, is there somebody who has a question or something to say? I'd like to start with expressing my appreciation for your coming, Kaossara, and joining us.
Thank you.
And your appreciation for how inclusive your vision is. You know.
Thank you so much.
But is there anybody who has a question or comment they'd like to say? So, and
well, I can jump in. I'd really love to hear, so what are the things you're working on this week? From all the things that Paul tells me, it's like you have so many projects going on, but I want to know what's moving your heart the most this week.
I think it's thinking of, I'm a bit altruistic. I don't know how to say it in English. Is it altruistic?
Yeah.
I used to think of other people. I forget myself. I know it's not good, but sometimes when life gives you opportunity, you have to take it, because we don't have anything for granted. Our life, our health, anything. And our great wealth or precious gifts life give us is our time. And if we waste this time, sooner or later we will regret it. Yeah. So this I'm a bit I don't know how to qualify myself, but those who know me used to think that like I have big potential, I can change the world, like I have a magic power. But for me, it's just like, no, we all have this power in us. We just need to see it. We can all do everything if we look at other people. And yeah, I started activism for climate change because I saw children suffering in my country, maybe not yet starving, but they are suffering. But during my journey, I also met this problem of Yemen, and we all know what's happening there. And sorry, the US is the main, the main support for those who are making this chaos in Yemen. And when I am seeing this picture of starving children, not only in Yemen, but also in Africa, it's a shame. It's a shame for our generation. It's a shame that in this 21st century, children are still starving. And we are saying that we have technology, we have everything, we have this and we have that. And at the same time, we have COVID-19. And instead of looking at our own reality here in Africa, our government are following your government. They are putting restriction on people here. And we can't do the same thing here in Africa. We have to look at our own reality before to take decision. But they have to do like their friends from US, from Europe, and it's impacting lives of people here. And every day when I get out and I see this picture of children starving or just them, because some people decide to take a decision. These children, they do not ask this life. And I'm sorry to be pessimist for that problem, because at the end, it's like if we keep silence, we are not only building, but we will have a next generation of young people with mental health, a disaster. We will have a lot of terrorists, a lot of people with no emotion because they suffer a lot. I used to say, everything is like a boomerang. When you throw it, it will come back. And that's what we are doing with our silence. And I think if I will tell you something, Michelle, is that this week I'm taking my time to write book or to read. That's what I'm doing. And I took a decision to do something for Yemen. I know I did a lot of tweet storm every day, talk about Yemen, they are starving, there is a risk of an oil spill in Yemen if we don't do anything. And if we keep silent, we will have a disaster. I did a lot of tweet storm, but nothing changed. And I started with hunger strike. I remember people told me, please stop it. It doesn't work. We just waste your time. They won't listen to you. I know somewhere in Africa where people even don't know that Yemen exists. Most of people don't know where is Yemen, but I care for that. And it's inspired a lot of climate activists today who join me. I didn't think about that when I started. And many of them join me today, doing their best for Yemen. And that's enough. It's like a victory for me. And I remember one of my friend from Canada, she's also climate activist. She started hunger striking every Friday just for Yemen. And today, there is a movement of Yemeni people in the US who are hunger striking for Yemen. And for me, it's like, oh my God, I was just sitting somewhere here in Togo doing this, and it brings this movement. It's really amazing when I get in touch with these people and we talk together. Yeah, they were happy. It's like, oh my God, this kind of people really exist. They give us, and that's what we need. We don't need to do big things to change the world. We just need to give something little and we can do it. So, and I think it's healing me also. Yeah, when I do things like that, it gave me happiness. It healed me. It made me feel that, yeah, at least you deserve to live on the earth and you are taking your responsibility. I know everyone won't be like me, but at least it can give people hope. It can encourage people to believe in justice, to have hope, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Is there anybody else who would like to speak to something that's come up for you because of this or with this, or maybe coming back to it later? So maybe we move on now and then maybe come back.
Okay. Paul, did you want to continue with the little
Sure.
history piece, and then we'll kind of run through what makes sense as we move forward?
Yep.
Great.
So is that slide filling your whole screen? I hope. I want to make sure I'm sharing the right screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good.
All right. So I need to advance a few slides. Always more than we can share at once. So another source and spring of climate action that I think is really important is what history shows us that we are capable of doing. And of course, on Earth Day, we need to think about the first Earth Day. In America, 1 in 10 upright mammals was in the street on April 22nd, 1970. 20 million of us were in the street to defend people and planet from polluters and extractive industries. And we really need to remember that, because it is so easy to project the failings of our leaders onto our people and think that we don't care. We do care. That is the largest demonstration of political will in American history. We have never had 1 in 10 people in the street for anything before that or since. It's really important to not take our cues from yesterday or even the last 5 or 10 years or even the last few decades. History, like the natural world, like the living world, history is always talking to us. And that incredible demonstration of concern for the earth and a hunger for a way of living that was not violent to the living world is still speaking to us. It is still vibrating in the air today. And then I wanted to talk briefly about another example, because we are in the most incredible convergence of crises. I mean, it's really, you can't count them. But one of the crises is we have had in America throughout this pandemic levels of hardship that we have not had since the Great Depression. And so we're in that space, and the rules in politics are different. It's especially true in a crisis like the one we're in now, that what we've been doing and what Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell have been doing in Congress, this is not relevant. What's relevant is what we're all seeing and experiencing together, and what we choose to do about it. And the incredible thing about the New Deal is that no one would ever have predicted any of it. America really was at the mercy of a very small handful of corporate and financial elites whose profit hoarding had brought the country to its knees. And there was just, the government had no record of overruling their interests in favor of the common good. It just, you could not have said, oh, well, sure, that's a likely outcome. But people rose up and demanded a radical reform, radical enough that it put the fear of God in Congress, and a fairly conservative Congress passed what amounted to a complete transformation of American society. And part of it that's especially good to remember is that the Civilian Conservation Corps planted 3.5 billion trees in about 8 years. And that is more than half the trees planted for reforestation in all of US history. 8 years. And they did not have a climate crisis that they knew of breathing down their necks. Well, I'll just go back briefly. One of the things that happened that I think is going to happen again, and we need to keep the vision of it in our hearts. What is really failing dramatically, not just in America, but all over the world, is isolating people and making them pursue only their own interests. We can't do that. We are interdependent. We can't get a life worth living on our own. What happened that is so amazing with the New Deal is that all of a sudden you had millions upon millions upon millions of people working not for the private gain of a few, but for the public good. And we built, not just roads and bridges. We brought electricity and indoor plumbing to rural America. We built an enormous number of schools and hospitals and clinics. We created a whole 20th century infrastructure, and we did it in about a decade. So our ambition, our sense of what's possible, needs to come from the closest corollary to our time, and that's the Depression. And we need to think big, because we've proven we can do big.
Thanks, Paul. So maybe we'll just take, if there's one or two quick questions or comments based on that. Okay, well, we'll move on here. And again, I'm so glad that Kaossara was able to join us. So I added her in on the slides here because we weren't sure if you were going to be able to make it on or not. So it's really great to see you. And let me see where I'm at now. I think what I would like to do is go pretty quick. So so I just wanted to comment briefly on this idea of Indigenous wisdom. And the importance of paying attention to what I like to call old growth cultures. So the people who have been in place for not just decades, but centuries or often millennia in the same location have a level of understanding of the life of that place that science struggles to match. So one scientist working in the Amazon said, recognizing that Greta Thunberg has asked us to, listen to the scientists, but the scientists really need to be listening to the wise people of the forests. A lot of the hope for the future really comes from restoring habitats, especially restoring forests. And the understanding for how to do that is going to have to come from Indigenous people, especially in the tropics, particularly in the Amazon. People, we'll talk about this again, but when people live in a place like that, they're not just inhabiting it like it's just the furniture. They are tending it. They are part of that whole earth community that lives in that place. And Indigenous cultures all around the world recognize themselves as part of a living community. And that is a lesson that we need to be able to really take to heart. So again, one of the greatest hopes for preserving our climate integrity, for preserving most of the biodiversity on the planet, is to take care of the equatorial rainforests. That's the Amazon, the Congo in Africa, and the equatorial rainforests of Southeast Asia, Sundaland. So Nova Sutras is working to get information out so that we can help scientists, help Indigenous people, and help the whole world to really preserve and protect Earth's three green hearts. So I'm going to pause now for a moment. And our timeline means nothing now. But Paul, we had written in here that you were going to maybe speak for a moment on climate justice work and recognizing our common humanity. I know you've brought that up, but were there a couple other key points you just wanted to share before we move into?
Well, yes.
Okay.
Just briefly that, the world's a little carved up, and that means that we can kind of live in an echo chamber. And I did not know the degree to which my mind, my imagination was limited. From my, I haven't been out of the country. And so, the discovery, when Vanessa Nakati made me aware of how bad it is, how devastating the human toll of the climate crisis is in Africa, it just got me out of my head and made my heart open and allowed me to experience, some grief and just to get through some of my own denial about what's happening. And there's no time to say anything much about it. That's fine. But it's really clear to me that Africa is leading us right now as I speak, leading us into the future. Kaossara is very modest, but she did something on Twitter I had never seen done. She mobilized people to do direct action, direct like mutual aid, helping farmers in the Sahel, with seeds that are maybe more drought resistant, and helping getting them funding for water. And this is part of activism in Africa that is so sane, because it's very hard to carry the weight of this crisis if all you're doing about it is attempting to bring about change politically. And there's no direct action, and you're not actually getting your hands into the soil, into the heart of the problem and the heart of the solution. The thing that I just would rather talk about briefly, though, is the 30 by 30 proposal. It has the potential to be an enormous help to Africa. It has the potential to save the Amazon, Congo, and Sundaland rainforests, not by itself, but this is the big deal about it, is that there are a lot of people you would never think would be doing it. People in governments that are fairly conservative, people in financial institutions that we think of as just sort of, chronic, habitual, exclusive exploiters. And yet, this proposal to protect completely from commercial exploitation 1/3 of the earth, to put partial protections on another 20% by 2030, and it doesn't stop there. But that goal, that's a reversal of direction, right? Because right now, we're continuing to encroach on the most vital ecosystems. And what this proposal would do is reverse that. And so we need to grab it. Climate activists really need to take hold of this. And if you're not an activist, even just talk to people about it. Because, there's a joke. My dad loved corny jokes. There is a joke that says, well, I went to the doctor and I said, "Doctor, it hurts when I do this." And the doctor said, "Don't do that." Well, really a lot of the climate crisis is that complicated. We need to stop doing things that are destructive and cause us enormous suffering, whether direct or indirect. And so we talk all the time about saving the earth, defending nature. Well, this is a proposal that actually does it, and can do it quite rapidly. And I'm looking forward to conversations with Kaossara and with Hindu Ibrahim and with other indigenous leaders about kind of making it our own. Because you don't want to leave these things in the hands of, those people. But I am thrilled that they're even talking about it, and talking about it with some real urgency. So on my short list of things to get done in 21, right at the top is, it's called sometimes the 30 by 30 proposal, sometimes the deal for nature. Let's do that.
So, yeah, we'll take a couple questions, and then just to let you know, then I'm going to take us into just a brief meditation and reflection on how we collaborate with Earth, and then we'll open it up for more conversations. And we can stay on as long as people want to stay on after that, within reason. But Kendon, go ahead.
So I've been choosing to live in my own silo for reasons several of you know. So I apologize for not having kept up with 30 by 30, but I do want to say in the moment, that my heart is somewhat lifted at the idea of directly doing something that would help, say in the Sahel, if I am pronouncing it correctly, that the political whatever relating to fracking and whatever is though overwhelming. What can I do? But if while I'm doing what I can do, I'm also doing something that has direct consequences, I think that would help me to do something more than I am presently doing.
And Benny?
Yeah. And thank you, Kendon, for sharing this inspiration and sense of aspiration. I think we're all feeling that. And in reflection with our own personal situation. And I felt that in a particular way when Paul was sharing about 30 by 30, and I was hearing and the echo of Kaossara's, and by the way, Kaossara, I'm so grateful for your presence and your words. The reflection on stepping into the role and the power that we individually have, and doing what we see right in front as possible, and taking that on. And I was reflecting on the possibility of, well, if, kind of like a lot of other environmental policies, it doesn't have to be top down, like bureaucratically, like federal first, or it could be, I was thinking about the possibility of state by state, municipality by municipality, local 30 by 30 action plans, not just pledges, but conserving and protecting in perpetuity and restoring in perpetuity, in right relation with, ideally in right relation with Indigenous steward leadership, 30% of the county area, 30% of the state area. But then I reflected on where I'm extremely privileged and blessed to have been born and raised and now live still in Santa Cruz. We're pretty much already there in terms of we have a large amount of the land area that is governed by the government here. The small county is already conserved. And so then I thought, well, in instances where counties and states already have 30%, then it becomes a conversation of, let's look at the whole world as a reflection of, or an expansion of our impact, right? And so the individual state or municipality might say, well, our cumulative, either cumulative or per capita emissions or impact or what have you, consumption rate is this much. What would be an appropriate amount of land area to sponsor elsewhere in the world? And then basically a liaison search and liaisonship and search party committee can be formed to find the most potent and easily relatable, like literally like relationship building part somewhere else in the world to become partners with, to conserve and restore at least 30% of a district or what have you. In that there, yeah. And that was kind of what I've come to very immediately just now as a possibility. and I'll stop blabbing, and I want to hear what others think of that.
Well, I just want to thank you, Benny. I just want to insert, there are already actions in California for based on 30 by 30, and there's a meeting, I think, next week. I will try to find that information, and probably not during this call, but afterward, I'll send it out to people. I'm not sure what's going on in other states, but I know that that word is getting out, and in particular, the combination of not only 30% of land, but marine protected areas become very, very important, and are actually really important when it comes to climate as well. Francesca?
Just very briefly, I don't want to take it off too much on a tangent, but as I was listening to Kaossara and Paul, I was feeling like, why have I been spending so many of my waking hours studying history alone? And that I need to bring myself present more to our current global situation. And I realized that in my own way, I'm trying in my own little way to make a difference with regard to land use, respect and care for all the other living beings on the planet by the diet that I've chosen. And I don't tend to think globally about that, but I'm very heartened by how many people, a lot of people in England and other parts of Europe have embraced a plant-based diet, especially young people. And I know that because of geographical and other issues like that, not everybody has the choice to do that. But I'm feeling more committed in a way during this call to maybe try to do more to reach out to others. I feel very lonely and isolated about this, even among my Quaker friends. I'm very, it's not just the suffering of children, it's the suffering of animals. And it's not just cattle and the emissions that affect our atmosphere, but it's also the suffering of those animals, and also the cruelties in the dairy industry that many people don't look into and acknowledge. So I think I need to make more visible my own individual commitment. And it's not just for my health, but it's for the health of the planet and the other living beings on it. So thank you.
Thanks, Francesca. And I just dropped a link into the chat of a local organization here in Santa Cruz County. I don't know how widespread it is, but Beth Love has a program called Eat for the Earth that really focuses on the link between diet and climate and ecological issues.
Actually, I'm joining, I think at 5 this evening, a group in Santa Cruz that I didn't know about. Perhaps it's this organization.
Oh, it might be.
Yeah.
I think she was doing an Earth Day event. So yeah.
Yeah, so I'll be joining that this evening and maybe not feeling so lonely.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you. Other questions or comments now? So I just, well, first of all, can I just take a quick show of hands? How many of you have to absolutely leave right at the hour? Okay. So what I'd like to do is we're trying to always incorporate in Nova Sutras events some time to drop in and go a little bit deeper. And so I want to take us into a little bit of a guided meditation to help us feel that connection a little more strongly. And then I guess we'll just sort of open it up for conversation. But as people are getting ready to leave, I want to make sure that there's time for a few closing comments. And also, please remind me, and I'll put the the upcoming Nova Sutras events into the chat again before folks leave. So right now, though, I invite you to just settle in and relax a little bit more into your body. Just let your weight drop down. Let your shoulders relax. And feel the way what is beneath you is supporting you. And I invite you to recognize that this is part of your connection to the earth itself. I invite you now to notice the breath moving in and out of you, and to recognize that each breath is a gift from all of the living green things that grow on our beautiful and amazing planet. Every time you inhale, you are bringing in molecules of oxygen that may have been produced in the rainforests of the Amazon, that may have been produced by some little phytoplankton in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, that might have been produced by a spruce tree in Siberia. Our atmosphere connects and unites all the beings on this planet. And so every breath is a sharing of material and a sharing of energy. That gift of oxygen from the plant kingdom, it allows us to unlock the energy that plants captured from the sun that made its way into the food that we eat. We recognize that we are part of a community that is supporting one another, that our very lives depend on the lives of so many other beings. The first growing plants that captured sunlight for energy, the people who harvest our food, the people who built the infrastructure to allow us to exchange. We are connected to history. We are connected to people all around the world. And we are connected to every living thing on this earth. Indigenous people all around the world recognize and hold sacred this phenomenon of interconnection, of interdependence. And they recognize that it comes with duty, that to be good partners in this dance of co-creation, we must treat the living world with respect. Some of that respect is simply in recognition and gratitude of all of the beauty and wonder that is around us. Some of that respect is showing up as a willing partner to protect and defend what is good and healthy, to restore what has been damaged, to create the conditions for new life. And to recognize that we are not doing this alone, that the earth is in partnership with us, that there are beings everywhere who are working together. Everywhere are allies and accomplices, collaborators and co-creators. The great earth herself is a partner in this work. So we can try to be the best partners that we can be to preserve and protect, to defend, and above all, to honor and hold sacred our living world. So just take another couple deep breaths in and feel that connection. And feel all of those allies, those accomplices, those co-creators breathing with you, committed to working together to co-create a beautiful future. Thank you for being here today, for the connections that you have in your heart to this beautiful and amazing world, and for all the good that you're doing. Have a blessed, beautiful, and very, very happy Earth Day. And as we come back together in conversation, remember to hold that warmth in your heart that you can carry with you through the day. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we wanted to invite some conversation. I know, Benny, you have to leave, but you know pretty much all the stuff that I'm going to say later. So, so if we want to just spend a few more minutes in conversation, just talking about, you know, what has come up for you during this session. Anyone have any questions, any thoughts?
I'm just thinking of Remy, Michelle. Some of you know, most of you, that we have been trying to help get young Congolese forest defender and climate activist named Remy Zahiga out of the DR Congo. And that process has made me really hopeful about what can happen in this world of ours, because I've been talking a fair amount, I guess, to my network about Africa and the incredible activists there. And we've had Remy talk about the Congo rainforest on a couple presentations. But when I let people know that his life was being threatened repeatedly by phone and that we really had to get him out, there was just an outpouring of support. And we had the funds needed to get him away from a very dangerous part of the DRC into Kinshasa, which was better. And I am happy to announce, after what seems like just an unbelievable number of hurdles, it looks like we've done everything we have to do. We've crossed all our T's, and he will be leaving on Friday and arriving in Malawi in a safer place where he can pursue his activism without that level of fear. But I just think that story, I mean, I can't wait for him to be safe so we can tell it, because it's Dominic and Abel in Malawi, it's Kaossara, it's, you know, this whole network of people who only know each other because we all care. My big hope, and I'm sorry, I am really sleep deprived, so I probably did not do a good job today, but my big hope was to help us believe a little bit that care can triumph in our world, that a big infusion of care is within our reach. Because I think caring people get told a lot that caring is not realistic. Right? The world doesn't run on care, you know. Well, it's going to. It just is.
Thank you, Paul. And thank you, Michelle. I'm going to stay on as best I can.
Okay.
I'm thinking about the change of vision, help, and the connection with caring, how to help that make the changes. You know, like Paul's way of talking about how continuing in the path we're on takes a lot of effort, which it does. Now, changing will take effort of a different sort. And I think that's where the trick comes in, because the path we're on creates effort we're used to. But the effort to come up with new ways and patterns and to connect across groups that don't necessarily normally connect, that's a different kind of an effort. And that coming from the heart, and then connecting that with the saving of, you know, land, connecting with, it's just today's bringing up wonderings about how our patterns can be shifted so that different patterns can emerge out of caring connections that could then shift political and other economic connections. And also Kaossara's inspiration about not giving up, but just maintaining that smile and keeping on going, right?
I have a question for Kaossara, if it's okay. I'm just meeting you for the first time, and I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah.
I have a question. How do you care for your spirit, your soul, your body to keep doing this work? I mean, if that's not too personal.
Yeah. It's a bit difficult. I think Muslim and also religion helped me a lot. You know, yeah, we have this bad conception of Islam and so on and so forth. But more than religion, I don't know how to say it, but we have this spiritual connection with this high God we can't see. It's like, you know, someone somewhere who is behind us, giving us more power, more courage, and to continue. Yeah, I think, and also the fact that I always see myself in other people. Like, yeah, if I hurt you, I hurt myself, and I know that no matter what I do, I won't be perfect. Maybe I can hurt people intentionally on, yeah, but the best thing is to see yourself in other people, like a mirror, yeah. And keep smiling every time. It's, yeah. And also, we have to realize that happiness is not for sale. And no matter how rich you are, or you can have everything if you don't have happiness. Your life is empty, and you will be like, yeah, maybe frustrated, depressive all the time. You will never like to see the happiness of other people. And it's something about mind. Like what you have. You don't need to be greedy. You don't need to look at everyone, yeah, they have this, I have to have it. No. Yeah, because if you appreciate what you have yourself, maybe your life, maybe, yeah, everything you have, because why you think that maybe you are poor, you think that you don't have money, someone is somewhere looking to have what you have. Maybe you have family, but you don't have it. Maybe you have brother, you don't have a sister or something. So we have wealth, we have everything around us, and we just need to appreciate it. Even if you are living alone with no child, with no friend, you have something precious. And you have to realize that you yourself, your life is precious. And it's not only a gift, you have to celebrate it. And yeah, we have something, human being is powerful. In the whole world, in all what's around us, we are the master of everything because we have reason. Animals don't have what we have. And I think if we can only forget our fear to lose control, our fear to dominate each other, our fear to be powerful. Yeah, I don't want to let people destroy me or something like that. We will find the balance between us and earth and humanity and everything. We just need to know who we are and to see the light which is inside ourselves. And I think that, yeah, I'm very lucky because most of people have to take a lot of time of their whole life before to understand this little thing about life. And at my age, if I understand that, it's really good. And we don't need to complain, no matter what's happening. Yeah, because even if you're suffering, you have to remember that nothing is forever. Everything will end. Even if you are happy, it's just for a time. Even if you are suffering, just for a time. And if we understand this little thing, we won't mind for the future. We won't be depressive. Anxiety won't kill us or take all our time. And yeah, that's what's giving me, maybe making me a bit strong. And I think an eternal perfection is because even if people look at me like, wow, you are great, I think I'm still learning. There are many amazing people around the world, and we should meet them, see that, yeah, life in this world, we just need to learn, and that's, and yeah, we will keep on learning, and we also need to realize the importance not only of our lives, but also the fact that we are not useless. We are here for a reason. And the reason is not to destroy or to do bad things, it's to do good things. And yeah, we just need to see it like that, not just like, oh, we want this, we forget this with material things. Yeah, and that's why we are living this catastrophe. We colonize ourselves as human beings, and now this colonization is on nature. We are greedy. We just want everything. And I'm very sure even if we have more than 10 Earths, if we destroy this one and we have the opportunity to move on another Earth, we will do the same. We just need to realize this little thing and everything will be okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have to go now, but I want to thank you so much for joining us, Kaossara.
You are welcome anytime.
Thank you for your words.
Yeah. Thank you also for.
This was my friend
everything.
who's joining me, so she can welcome you to that flickering thing in the
Wonderful. Thanks, Neoma. Kaossara, I just wanted to say, Paul sings your praises frequently. He has really been so inspired by you, and I get it. You are just a treasure, and your commitment and your clarity come through so well, and I'm really delighted to have this chance to meet you.
Thank you. I think, Paul, I'm still learning from him. Ask him. Sometimes when he talked with me, he gave me, yes, but where do you find this strength to be still optimist and to look at the future like this? We have to look at the reality sometimes. And the guy is just amazing. And really, yeah, he's just amazing. And he did for Remy, because I remember when Remy get in touch with me about his problem. I was like, oh, I don't know anyone to help you, Remy. What can I do? And we send message to many people, send message to organizations. There is someone who needs help. It's an emergency. Please help us. To many organizations. I reach a lot of people on Twitter, and honestly, people help us. And but the great help, it was Paul. When he come, everything moved, and Remy was losing hope. He was telling me, you know, Carl, when these people will kill me, you will just see them showing my picture everywhere on media, saying that an activist was killed in Congo. But when he came, it was like a miracle. And yeah, because he's someone, I don't know how to say it, but you know, sometimes with the reality of what's happening in Africa, sometimes when people come and say that they are having problems, it's very difficult for people to trust us. They think, oh, maybe this is a scammer, maybe this is a catfish, yeah. They come again, these people. No, but he didn't look at us like that. He accepted what was happening and he took it as a priority. And yeah, and he did it. Today, Remy can, yeah, he can feel, he can feel happy and say that, yeah, at least I can still continue my activism. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and saying that I'm giving people hope. I think there are a lot of people who are, behind the scene, who are not known, like more like you. And I think that's the amazing thing. We don't need to be famous. We don't need to be known by everyone. And as I said, our little action can save a lot of lives. And that's what he did. He saved Remy. And what do we want again? That's, yeah. So, and yeah, thank you, Paul, for that. I really appreciate it, because every day Remy used to come and message me, thank you, Carl, thank you. I said, no, it's not me. And the guy is grateful, and that's the miracle. And because we never have miracle from the sky, we are our own miracle. We help each other, and that's what we call miracle if we understand the concept. And yeah, and we just need to try to do the little thing we can do to move on. And that's why I never trust on politicians or policymakers to change this world. Look at I was not born when this problem started, and a lot of people lose their lives in this. I mean, talking. It's only in war that our politicians don't talk before to take action. They take action directly. it's only with war, but with great deal like climate change, like food security, and they will have to do diplomacy, waste time, and at the same time, some people are suffering. Their lives, their future, everything is going on. And most of people, yeah, I remember someone was asking me, what do you think, what do you want from politicians around you? And I said that I don't need anything from them. We have to start clean up the mess ourselves. We did it. We have to do it. No one, yeah. If you have the hand, start doing something. And it's better than waiting for a policy which will make many years like net zero at 2015. It's a shit. I'm very sure maybe in 2015, if I will have grandchildren, I don't know. But at that time, if we keep waiting for these people, we will still asking the same thing. And they will say net zero at 2100. Keep adding years. And they have their own agenda. They have their own priority, and we as people, we need to have our own agenda too, because those who are exploiting Africa are the same people who are exploiting people in US, people in Europe, all around the world. It's not started today. It started long time. And these people won't stop now. They have money. They have, yeah, it's like money is power. Yeah. But we can change the trend if people look at themselves like a popular mass. Yeah, because we have the same enemy everywhere. Our enemy are these people who are keep burning fossil fuel, making money with destruction of forests and so on and so forth. They are just changing maybe the faces. Maybe it was an old white man before, now it's the young white man, or yeah. And also, instead of accusing them or telling them you destroy our life, you do this, you do that, let us change the trend. Let us join hands together and reverse the trend. Yeah, because it's with fight we can do everything. Many years ago, women were killed just because they talk too much or they are too beautiful, or women fight for that. And today we have women working and they keep fighting for their rights. And everything is fight. We just need to understand that. And we will always have this side of good and bad. For the balance, we just need to keep fighting and never give up.
Well, the women I know in Africa are just such powerhouses. I mean,
Yeah.
really, you, Vanessa, and Hindu, like, who else do we need? I feel like that's a perfectly good team. We can just solve it all. Just give the power to us. But it's amazing. I really am so over the moon with her speech in Berlin. You know, they cut her down to 3.5 minutes. They'd given her 5 minutes to speak, and they cut it down, and they made her submit her speech ahead of time. And they thought they were going to control Vanessa Nakati. And they're just out of their minds because, of course, she just blasted them. And it's like she said more in 3.5 minutes than most climate conferences managed to get said. It's just, I don't know. It's hard not to feel optimistic. I think of I'm always afraid I'm going to mangle the pronunciation of her name, but Wangari, she is, yeah,
Yeah.
She is so amazing, and I just think all the time how happy she must be, seeing this blooming of activism in Africa. I mean, male and female both. There's just incredible leaders all over. Every time I look, it's like, now you can't look away, and suddenly there's just a ton more. But it's very encouraging to me.
Yeah. And that's what's giving us hope, because people are standing everywhere. People like Greta Thunberg, they are building a new generation of young people, and I'm very sure if we have more and more people in the climate movement, it will push things quickly. Yeah.
Well, I should go. I am really not quite well. Something happens like every night at 3 a.m. It's very reliable. So I think that's over now. I think we've got Remy's taken care of, but I'm going to go lie down now and just thank my stars that I am lucky enough to have you in my life, Kaossara.
Thank you.
I'll talk to you soon, all of you. Love you all.
Right. Yeah,
Bye.
so let's go ahead and close out now, but thank you all so much for being here. And if we just want to kind of reach out onto your screen and hold hands around the world here.
Wow.
It is so wonderful to be able to meet you, Kaossara, and to spend time with all of you. Such inspiration and such great messages of hope. So I'm really, really just so grateful for the community that we're building all around the world, and for all of these allies, accomplices, and co-conspirators that we're finding everywhere. And I just want to wish everyone a really happy Earth Day. Again, we've got more events coming up. Most of you know the local events here, and some more online stuff as well. And Kaossara, I hope that we get to have you come speak with us again sometime soon. We'll try to aim for a little earlier, so it's not too late for you, but
Okay.
All right,
really appreciate you taking so much time to speak with us. Thank you all. Be well.
Yeah. Goodbye.